Did you know that in ancient China, people believed the sky could hear them? Not in a metaphorical sense, but literally, they thought the sky or Tian was a conscious entity that observed human actions, listened to their words, and even judged their deeds. This wasn't just a casual superstition. It was a deeply ingrained worldview that shaped entire dynasties, sparked rebellions, and gave birth to fascinating spiritual practices. Today, we're diving deep into the world of ancient China's sky listening beliefs, exploring how this powerful idea influenced everything from emperors to common folk. Let's start with the core concept, Tian, which translates to heaven or sky. But Tian was much more than just the blue expanse above, in early Chinese thought particularly. During the Zhou dynasty, Tian was seen as the supreme divine force, an impartial and all-powerful deity. It wasn't a personal god you'd pray to for small favors. Instead, Tian was the ultimate source of moral order and political legitimacy. This is where the famous concept of the mandate of heaven or Tianming comes in. The mandate of heaven was the divine right to rule granted by Tian to a just and virtuous emperor, the son of heaven. This wasn't a lifetime pass, though. If a ruler became corrupt, cruel, or incompetent, Tian would show its displeasure. How? Through natural disasters. Floods, droughts, earthquakes, and even strange astronomical events like comets were interpreted as cosmic warnings. They were signs that the emperor had lost Tian's favor. The sky was, in effect, speaking its judgment, and if the emperor didn't heed these warnings and mend his ways, Tian would withdraw its mandate and bestow it upon a new, more worthy leader, often justifying a rebellion or the rise of a new dynasty. So, listening to the sky's will was the emperor's most important job. To do this, emperors and their courts developed elaborate rituals and systems of observation. Imperial astronomers weren't just stargazers. They were political advisors. Their job was to meticulously document celestial phenomena, eclipses, planetary alignments, sunspots, and interpret them as messages from Tian. A sudden meteor shower might be seen as a sign of impending military conflict, while a particularly bountiful harvest, blessed by good weather, was proof of Tian's continued approval. These interpretations, known as astrological portents, were taken incredibly seriously and could directly influence state policy, from military campaigns to tax reforms. The entire imperial court was essentially trying to listen to the sky to maintain its power. But this belief wasn't confined to the Forbidden City. It trickled down to every level of society. Common people also believed that Tian saw everything. This served as a powerful form of social control. The idea that a higher power was always watching encouraged moral behavior. Your good deeds and your bad deeds were all recorded in a celestial ledger. This is reflected in many folk tales and proverbs. For instance, a popular saying goes, "Man's schemes are no match for heaven's plans," implying that no wrongdoing can ultimately escape cosmic justice. People would make offerings and perform rituals not just to ancestors, but also to Tian, hoping for good fortune and protection, believing their piety would be heard and rewarded. This belief system also gave rise to what we might call sky listening cults, or more accurately, millenarian movements. When the government was corrupt and life was hard for the common people, charismatic leaders would emerge, claiming they had received a new mandate from heaven. They interpreted the same natural disasters that worried the court not as warnings, but as proof that the current dynasty had already lost Tian's favor. These leaders would often claim to have special abilities to communicate with the divine or interpret Tianese will, rallying peasants and disgruntled officials to their cause. One of the most famous examples is the Yellow Turban Rebellion during the late Han dynasty. The leader Zhang Zhu was a Taoist healer who claimed that the blue sky of the Han was dead and the yellow sky of a new era of great peace was about to dawn. He and his followers used Taoist magical practices, healing, and sermons to spread their message. The widespread famine and corruption of the time seemed to confirm their claims. To them, the suffering of the people was the sky's loudest proclamation that change was needed. They were listening to the sky and they believed it was calling for revolution. This rebellion, though ultimately unsuccessful in founding a new dynasty, severely weakened the Han and contributed to its eventual collapse. It shows how the belief in a listening sky could be a double-edged sword, a tool for imperial stability but also a powerful catalyst for radical social change. So, how did one listen to the sky? It wasn't always about grand portents. There were more personal, mystical practices too. Taoist traditions in particular developed techniques for internal cultivation and meditation designed to align oneself with the Tao, the natural way of the universe, which was intrinsically linked to Tian through practices like breathing exercises, specific diets, and meditative states. Adepts sought to quiet the mind and become receptive to the subtle rhythms of the cosmos. They believed that by achieving a state of harmony within themselves, they could understand the will of heaven directly without needing to look for external signs. It was a form of inner listening, a spiritual communion with the universe. This idea of a moral, conscious universe also blended with other belief systems as they arrived. In China, when Buddhism was introduced, the concept of karma resonated strongly with the existing idea of Tian's justice. The notion that good actions lead to good outcomes and bad actions lead to bad ones fit perfectly with the belief that heaven rewards the virtuous and punishes the wicked. Over time, these ideas intertwined, creating a complex spiritual landscape where Taoist, Buddhist, and folk beliefs all reinforce the central theme: your actions matter because someone or something is always watching and listening. Even in modern China, echoes of these ancient beliefs remain. While few people today literally believe the emperor is the son of heaven, the concept of a collective moral consciousness and the idea that nature can reflect the state of human affairs still surface in culture and language. The phrase "the old sky grandpa is watching" is still used sometimes to teach children to behave. The deep cultural reverence for harmony between humanity and nature and within society can be traced back to this ancient dialogue between the earth and the sky. So the next time you look up at the sky, think about this. For thousands of years, a quarter of the world's population lived with the profound belief that this vast emptiness wasn't empty at all. It was a witness, a judge, and a powerful force for change. It wasn't just a physical sky, but a moral sky, one that listened to the whispers of peasants and the proclamations of emperors alike. This ancient Chinese worldview reminds us of a time when humanity saw itself as part of a grand cosmic drama, where every action had a resonance that reached the very heavens. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you found this fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history and culture. Let me know in the comments what you think. Did your culture have similar beliefs about the sky or nature? I'd love to hear about it. See you next time.